right, guys, welcome back to the Cracking Cans podcast, the podcast we talk all things cryptid, all things urban legend, and all things spooky. Today, we have a super special episode that we're really, really excited about. I'm Crack Daddy Mike, and I'm going to throw it over to Corey to introduce our guest and kind of let you know what's going on today.
Awesome. So Mike and I, we did the first part of our Pennhurst double feature. And the first episode, we just talked about the history from when Pennhurst opened, a lot of the abuse and things that people went through while they were there, leading up to when the place closed. And our big goal for the first part was to kind of set the stage for how this place could have, a ton of paranormal activity and different things going on. So then that's why we brought in Jenni Lynn here. Jenni, we'll just say Jenni, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Jenni. We brought in Jenni, who works at Pennhurst and is also a paranormal investigator. So we'll let her kind of introduce herself, and then we'll kind of dig into some of the other questions that we have for her regarding Pennhurst and some other paranormal questions that we got. So I guess Jenni, what's your background and what led you to the paranormal profession? And is it something you do professionally, or is it something you just do as a hobby?
So I've been doing the paranormal for probably over 20 years now altogether.
Oh, wow.
I've been at Pennhurst for 10 years. Love it. It's one of my favorite things ever to get to work, at such an iconic and historic place. As far as what got me into it or anything, I think I've always just been kind of interested in it, even from like a little kid. I was always drawn to different, like even from like Titanic to different ghost stories and Ouija board. People talk about Ouija boards and all that kind of stuff. It always kind of like interests me. So I've kind of grown up in that kind of stuff. Then it was in 2000, I moved into an apartment and there was a lot of weird stuff going on in there. And I thought, let me start doing some research and really delve into this a little more. And so in 2001, I went on my very first paranormal investigation down in Philadelphia at Fort Mifflin. And I was hooked and been doing it ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know we were talking a little bit on Facebook, and I know you said you travel like 2 hours every weekend to go to Pennhurst, and you've been doing that for 10 years. So that right there shows how much, you think of this place.
Yes. It's an amazing history. I mean, it's sad, but you start to feel for the people who live there, and what they experience. So, it kind of gets in your heart, and then you have everything from architecture, which is beautiful, and then you have your spirits, and me being there so long, I get attached to them and, I've had so many great experiences, and that just keeps me going back.
Yeah, awesome. So speaking of, you said you lived in an apartment in like 2001, was it? And that's when you first noticed some paranormal stuff going on?
Yeah.
So I guess, was that like your first experiences that really got you into this profession? And I guess like what happened there that got you so hooked to start looking into this stuff?
I just started noticing different. There was we had a back little den room thing, and there was this lamp in there, and it would go on and off all the time. And that was the way to go to the bathroom. So like every time I'd go through there, the light would kind of flicker on and off, and finally I just started talking to it. I said, "Would you knock it off?" And it would stop. Things would be moved, from one room to another. Excuse me. I can't think of the one in particular, but I think, you would just notice, like, wait, how did that get from my bedroom to the kitchen, or, things like that. Then for a while, I was hearing footsteps. I lived on a second floor, so I would hear footsteps, like, coming up at the same time every night about 4 in the morning. And who the heck would be coming to my apartment in the middle of the night like that? And I'd listen for a knock, nobody. So finally one day I heard it and I got up out of bed, I ran over and I flung open the door and I'm looking down the steps like nobody was there. Just, weird stuff like that. But I kind of grew to accept it and enjoy it. And when I moved out of there, I was actually really sad. I was like, you should come with me.
So like everywhere you went after that, like you never lived in another place that had any type of activity then?
Well, the house I live in now, I get activity, but I think only because things follow me home from these locations. So
Okay.
it's only like it's hit or miss.
Yeah. Interesting.
So like when stuff follows you home, is that typically, would you consider that something maybe good that followed you home or not so good that followed you home?
It's all good. Yeah, they
All good?
play with
Okay.
my stuff, and I have a space heater. They'll push the button. You can hear it beeping and everything, and they turn the temperature up and down. Just recently, I have a music box on top of my refrigerator, a little ceramic one. It was wound so tight when I got it at a antique store, and I was needing to get it fixed. But all of a sudden, it's like playing notes. Every so often, I'll hear the notes playing on the music box. And just maybe a week ago, it was long. It was like it had to be about 10 seconds. And I'm just sitting there like, what is going on? So I started putting a cat ball up on top of there too. And every now and then the cat ball will go off as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if anything's attached to that music box, but
Interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. So you already said you've been at Pennhurst for 10 years. So like what's your current role at Pennhurst?
So I am a paranormal guide. So we get our group and um, we rotate throughout the night to the different buildings and locations on campus. I teach them how to, use equipment. I show them how to use it, and then we investigate, for the night.
Yeah. That's something that Mike and I were like talking about. Like since we've been digging into Pennhurst, I mean we've heard about it, for a long time since we live, 2 hours from it as well. But since we've been digging into it, it's been fascinating, and like we've been like looking at the prices and stuff and trying to plan, because I saw there's what's like $1,200 for a group of 10 or something.
Yeah, for a
That's
private
for a
investigation for you
private.
and your
So
group.
is that involved, like is it like is everybody else isn't allowed there and it's just a group of 10 people and then
Correct.
that's oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you
That's what I
have like,
thought.
if you have like a bunch of friends that you do this with, I mean, that's like we always try to recommend that a little bit because it's like the perfect, what do you call it? It's just the most optimum way, I think, of investigating it. I mean, publics are nice. Publics are great. I'm not knocking it. You do get to meet
Yeah.
a lot of different people and, that share the same thing. But, there is a little, added extra noise, that you just kind of got to deal with. But privates are great. You do get the location from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. And you get, I think, 5 different areas, 3 buildings
Okay.
and 2 tunnel systems. So
Awesome. We just talked a little bit about Pennhurst with like some of the different tours and stuff. Like what else can a person do when they go to Pennhurst? Like what other events or activities can they do like when they're there?
we do offer history tours. Also, once or twice a year, they'll do a photography tour where you get to roam the grounds, take pictures, and just kind of explore outdoors. And you do get a little bit of the history on that as well. And we're really trying to get a lot more events going, for the
Okay.
public. And, for Halloween, we just did a pet adoption fundraiser, for a local animal shelter. And
Okay.
we have Paracon, of course, which is huge. Everyone, loves the Paracon. We get, the celebrities in there.
I saw
Tom is
Josh Gates. Josh Gates is going to be there this year, right?
I
Yeah,
love
that's
him.
awesome.
I've been trying to get him, in there for a couple of years, so I'm
Yeah.
very excited we finally got him. Yeah, it's amazing. Tons of vendors, food. Just mini ghost hunts during the day. And then we have the celebrity ghost hunts at night after everyone else has gone home from the Paracon. If you do upgrade your ticket to that, you could, come back and, do a full investigation at night.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome. It seemed like they have a solid group of people coming this year anyway, from what I've seen.
Yeah, a lot of them, they're great. Project Fear, they're great individuals, love their fans, they'll stand and talk to you.
Yeah.
Everyone's really great. All the guests, celebrity guests.
Yeah. I was really trying to go this year, like I really wanted to, but not unfortunately. I mean, it's a good thing. My wife is due with our baby in like the end of April.
Oh,
So it's
congratulations.
like thanks. It's too close to it, so like I couldn't necessarily like, say, "Hey, like I'm going to go." Like I'm still trying, but I don't know if I don't know if I could rationalize it, but
Right.
we'll
It's a
see.
little close.
Yeah. But I know Mike and I definitely still want to try to come maybe this spring or summer to do some type of ghost hunt or something.
Yeah,
So,
even for Valentine's Day, last year was our first one. We did a special Valentine's Day themed haunted attraction.
okay.
Because that's also what we're known for, obviously, is the haunted attraction during Halloween. That's another big thing. And, they thought of trying to do it for Valentine's Day. And it was a blast. I actually did some acting, scare acting on
Oh,
that.
nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that's probably awesome.
So we're
So
we're
when you did,
trying to get, different things out there and trying, to see what people are interested in, what they want to do, and
yeah.
and all that money, does go towards, restoration and, keeping the buildings safe and, so you guys could keep coming and
Yeah. So when you did the scare acting, what did you dress up as? What were
um
you?
so I had a hospital gown on and then this like creepy metallic-y mask like with different like holes and windows and then like a mesh thing over it. There's a picture
Nice.
on my
Oh,
page of it.
oh, sweet. I'll have to look at it that then. That's awesome. Because I think was it when like the company that started the like attractions and stuff that I'm pretty sure like still owns it now, right? Like from when they bought the property. I don't know if
No,
it's the same company or not or
no,
whatnot.
it's private owners
Yeah,
currently, but it's not the same ones that originally
that
opened.
originally, yeah. Because I think what I was reading was like when it first turned into like the haunted attraction, there was a lot of like backlash from the public because of like how they were running it and just doing like a disservice to the people who were at Pennhurst. So like, is there any of that still like going on? Like those type of conversations from people?
Yes.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah. And I understand it. I know how it can look,
Yeah.
and like I said, the history was tragic, but yeah, you could go on Twitter or whatever, X, sorry,
Yeah.
and people make comments like it should be shut down. They're mocking the disabled, but we have done a lot to not let that happen.
Yeah.
We don't mock the disabled. We steer clear away from that. We only run the haunted attraction in areas where the residents did not live on campus because we
Oh,
don't want
okay.
to intrude on that part of the campus. So it's like
Okay.
the tunnel areas, the administration building, which was all offices, and you know.
Yeah.
So we
Awesome.
do try to respect, the people who did live there.
Okay. Yeah, because I heard about that when I was just looking up this topic, and I figured I'd ask you, since you work there, and if that was still kind of happening or not.
Mhm.
I know we just talked a little bit about the activities that are there, the people coming to Pennhurst. Do you feel like all the people coming there, does that affect the energy or the spirits that are there?
It can in different ways. I know personally, I've witnessed during the haunted attraction, September and October, and I'm over here doing the paranormal thing. We hardly see a lot of activity. There's nights where I'm like, what the heck's going on? Why are you so quiet? but you start to realize, I think that is just, it might be too much for them, and they
Okay.
shy away from people.
Interesting.
But for like the regular publics, it's hit or miss, really. And I've also noticed when I get my group of 10, 12 people, it also depends on the energy that they bring into it. If they're just there to have a good time or goof around or whatever, like they don't seem to want to interact with that. They want somebody to listen to them and hear them, and um, so if I can get people sitting down and asking questions and, putting the equipment out on the floor and seeing if we can get anything, the spirits react more to that.
Okay. That's good to know. When we pick our people, Mike, we got to make sure we pick the right people.
Yeah. No, I will be totally serious that day for like once in my life.
You don't have to be completely serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, our guy, I was gonna say our guy Mike here is a big skeptic, so I don't
want to say I'm a skeptic. So the phrase I used is I need something to like pretty much like slap me in the face for me to know it's there. And I understand like I am skeptic. I have a skeptical view, but I'm totally open. So.
Well, hopefully if you get down to Pennhurst, we could change your mind.
Yeah.
Be a full-blown believer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it'd be cool. I think I think it'd be neat.
I mean, that's what happened to me back in 2013. I went with some friends, and the one guy was so scared. He had tears in his eyes, and he was like a skeptic, in the middle. And he ran out of there with tears, and he's like, I believe now. Like, that's it. That's all it took. One trip to Pennhurst.
Yeah. We did an episode, I guess it was this week was released, this week it was released, but we talked about kind of like the different types of spirits. And when we talked about like demonic, like I believe in demonic spirits for sure. And then when I'm like reading through the notes, it kind of said like, the more you believe in demonic spirits, the more demonic spirits will come to you. And like Corey's just staring at me after I said it, and it's like I didn't even realize that when I wrote it. Like, oh dear. I don't know how it just like totally slipped my brain as I'm typing that part up and everything. It's like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little scared.
Thank God I keep denying it. I'm like, nope, I don't want to even think about it.
Yeah.
So I know the property is like 1,400 acres, 1,400 acres, something like that.
Oh, nice.
So what areas of the property have the most activity, and why do you think those areas do?
Me personally, it's called the Rockwell Tunnel. It's the largest section of tunnel guests can go in. I think it's about 1,800 feet long, approximately. And it's pretty long, pretty big. But I've had the most interactions down there. I mean, you name it, and I've encountered it down there. Voices, hissing, being touched, balls of light in all different colors too. Shadow people. I mean, like I said, you name it, I've encountered it down there. So I love to just go down there if I can and just sit and listen. And, the things you'll hear and see is amazing sometimes. And, I'll get my groups to, I'll let them explore, but then I'll say, come back in a few minutes. We'll sit down. We'll do a quiet session, maybe some EVPs. And, a lot of EVPs down there. My thoughts on that, I mean, we can only speculate on what really happened back then, but if you think about the campus and the way it's set up, these tunnels were mainly used to transport, different things from building to building, or, maintenance things. They had their own power plant, so there were steam pipes running through there and all that, but patients were transferred, through these tunnels, and you're in an area in the middle of nowhere. Your parents drop you off. I'm sure you don't want to use your imagination, but if you start thinking about things that could happen, so that's why I think the tunnels are a little more active. Is probably some bad juju down there.
Yeah. Oh, I can see that for sure.
We also have Mayflower Building, which is pretty popular. I tend to find the third floor of Mayflower the most active out of the whole building. There's Emily, little girl
That's
spirit.
the little girl, right? She's in the third floor of that building. Okay.
Yeah, well, she goes, different floors as well. I've heard her and seen her in the basement. She's very playful, very nice. And, yeah, you could sit up on the third floor. Same thing. If you find a corner up in the third floor, just sit and listen. You'll hear doors slamming, drawers opening and closing, bottles clanking, paper
Wow.
shuffling.
Yeah.
So if you had to take somebody like me that was a total skeptic and just be like, here's your lawn chair, you got to sit here for an hour by yourself, where are you going to sit me?
Laser basement.
Okay.
That's another happening spot. Very active.
Okay.
There is a male spirit down in the basement of Quaker, and he's known as Skippy.
Ooh, Skippy.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes him sound a lot nicer than, is he nice? Or is this like he's Skippy, he's going to kick your butt while you're down there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
he's far from nice. He
Yeah.
does not like women at all. Doesn't like alpha males. Likes to throw things sometimes, not
Yeah.
often, but if you get him in the right mood, I guess he will. He curses a lot. We had an interaction. I don't know if you want me to go into that now or.
You can, sure.
So when I said the guy went out crying, that was 2013, and we were doing a private, and we ended up.
This was at Pennhurst. This was at Pennhurst.
Yes, at Pennhurst.
Okay.
And we ended up in the basement of Quaker. It wasn't open at the time, but the guide that we had started telling us the story about a maintenance worker, a custodian, that would do horrible things to the patients down there, especially young boys. Apparently, I don't. But so we started provoking like we shouldn't have, and next thing you know, I saw a shadow go across like the ceiling, and all of a sudden, it was like a split second, right? And then the light above my head exploded, and then I'm covered in glass, and then the whole those office lights that hang, the long ones, those really long the tube lights or whatever.
Yep.
So then the whole fixture just came crashing down like a foot in front of me, almost killed me. So we're looking through the debris and everything, and we're like, what the heck happened? I said, yeah, I saw something go across the ceiling. And sure enough, when we looked through the glass and everything, there was this huge piece of metal pipe. And we're like, oh my God, that was thrown. That hit the light, caused it to explode and everything. And we were all just in a little circle, so nobody was like across the room or anything, So that was pretty interesting. And our guy's like, oh my God, I got to get you out of here before somebody gets hurt. So then fast forward a couple of years when I started working there, and Rockwell Tunnel was open. I went down in there, and there's the doorway to Quaker Basement. And there was a hole in the plywood that was there. And I stuck my recorder in there, and I was like, yeah, Skippy. I said, remember when you almost killed me a few years ago with the light? What do you think about that? So the next day when I was listening to the recorder, I was silent for maybe about 10 minutes. And within that silence, all you hear, can I say bad words out here?
No, yeah, go for it.
All you hear is like, oh, wow, okay. Did you just call me what I think you did? So I always say, now me and him have a love-hate relationship. We love to hate each other. And we go
I was going to say, there is a lot of hate. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's crazy. And see, that's what I always hear about the spirits going after alpha males, and I would consider myself far from an alpha male. Corey can attest. I feel like
Size
I'm just
wise,
well, but I'm a big guy. I'm like
yeah.
6'3". So that is the part where I hear about like alpha males. They go for them. It's like, oh, no, we're cool. We could be cool.
Yeah. Let's go get a beer together.
Yeah, like I'm not here. I'm not here to fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy,
That's funny.
yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that, but it just seems that's what they go after.
But you said that he is supposedly a maintenance man that used to work there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So a
Wow.
friend of mine actually found documentation on the property that has his real name. I don't want to say it, just
Yeah.
That's
but,
fine.
And in between his first and last name, it had Skip in quotation.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he
has he told people down there that that's his name or that's what he wants to be called?
To be honest, I don't know where like that all originated, like how that all started.
Okay.
We just
No, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not awesome, but
Yeah. He's the only one we're allowed to like kind of provoke because he was a jerk. He treated them badly, and and people have asked him, like, well, why are you still here? Why don't you just leave or whatever? And basically, the answer they got was he knows where he's gonna go, and he doesn't want to leave. He'd rather stay there in the basement than face his,
Yeah.
what do you call it?
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. So that I know you talked about this a little bit, but I guess do like certain areas of Pennhurst, or even if you're investigating like other places, say you've investigated it, several times, does like the same type of paranormal activity happen in certain places, or does that just fluctuate on many different variables?
You mean like you said,
Like
other than Pennhurst?
it could be either Pennhurst or just anywhere else. Like in general, like do you feel like paranormal activity, like does it fluctuate, or is like the shadow figures always seen in this area? Are the EVPs picked up only here, and like, or can that like just move around depending on many different things?
I do find that paranormal activity. I mean, it fluctuates a lot. I mean, people. I think a lot of people have that misconception of they see these TV shows and they're just going to walk into a room and like things are just going to start shooting across the room and blood's going to come pouring out of the walls and levitating and but no, a lot of it is just sitting and waiting. And there's nights where we get some stuff. There's some nights we get amazing activity, and then there's nights where we get nothing.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I think it depends on the energy you bring. The amount of energy they may have or may not have at the time. I kind of think of it as like a rechargeable battery. Like they gain that energy, but then once they do something and make themselves known, it's kind of like, oh, I got to start all over again.
Okay.
So they kind of go quiet for a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as other places I've been to, it's kind of the same. Like I've been to hospital in College Hill twice, and both times, it was different. The first night it was active, and then the second time I went, it was quiet. Like we hardly got anything. It just depends. They don't perform on command, so.
Yeah. Well, going off of that then, I mean, I was going to ask it later on, but we might as well just dig into it now. Like, what are some other notorious places that you've been to, in Pennsylvania or other states?
Oh, wow. Pretty much all the big ones.
Have you?
Waverly Hills, Rolling Hills, Trans-Allegheny, which is another amazing location. I'm a hospital person, and
that one's in Delaware, right? Is that one in Delaware?
West Virginia.
Or West Virginia. West Virginia, yeah. Okay.
We did Harriman Hospital, Full South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee. Oh gosh, the list.
Oh man.
Yeah, we did Madison Seminary and Fairfield County Infirmary, which we're actually going in April again to both locations.
Awesome.
Both great, locations.
Yeah.
So when
That's
you
awesome.
say we, do you have like a team that you usually typically always go with, or is it different friends?
Yeah, I have a group of friends. We kind of we all met at Pennhurst actually.
Okay.
And yeah, once, twice a year, we'll plan like a weekend or a few days, and pick a location or two, and just make a whole trip out of it. And
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sweet.
we'll have to
So
get
we kind of.
together.
What's that?
We'll have to get together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Join
Oh,
forces.
if we ever go to Pennhurst, like, you're gonna be our girl.
Yeah, we're taking you for lunch, and you're gonna.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, free lunch wherever you want to go,
Nice.
and then we'll take you for a good. Throw me in the basement with
Yeah.
Skip, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know.
Thanks for
Yeah.
dinner. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, here you go. You just sit right here. Let
Oh,
me see.
Hillview
Where to
Manor.
come?
Hillview Manor is another great location. We just went there a couple months ago, and I've been there 5 times.
Oh wow. You ever go to Eastern State Penitentiary?
We did an investigation, 2013. It was the same weekend as the Pennhurst thing. And I think we were kind of like one of the last groups to kind of, because they stopped doing the investigations like not long after that.
Okay, yeah. I went
Yep.
there in like 20. I want to say maybe 2015 or 2016.
Mhm.
It was just me and my friend, and then I went with my mom and stepdad. Like we just went for like a tour during the day of the place and stuff, and then did like the haunted attraction then at night. But I mean, it was a pretty cool experience being there and seeing like Al Capone's cell and things like that. Just
Mhm.
how he was living, like just it was crazy just seeing like the red carpet he had in there and like his nice little
Yep.
desk and like that dude was living in luxury in
Oh,
prison.
yeah. He had some sweet
Yeah.
digs up in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Uh
yeah, it's sad that, excuse me, that they don't do the paranormal anymore. I think they're trying to focus more on like the history aspect of it.
okay. Gotcha. So I guess we could skip some of these because we kind of already covered that. So when I'll go into this one. So when you complete an investigation, what does that look like? And like what kind of tools, equipment do you like to use the best? Or does that kind of depend? I know because I know like not every type of equipment works with every type of spirit or entity. So like I know you got to try to use like different ones to see if anything's hitting any type of equipment. So I guess like do you have any that are your favorite, least favorite, and like what does kind of an investigation I guess look like for you?
Yeah, and I'm also like a sensitive, so I can feel the energies, when
Okay.
they're around, and I can kind of even pick up on certain emotions that they may be feeling. So a lot of times I'll just kind of walk around, and if I'm with my friends on our investigations, we'll be talking, and then like I'll be like, oh, and I'll get a feeling, or I'll feel something in a room over here, and I'll just go into that room and I'll feel it out first, see how the energy is, and
Yeah.
then I'll say, hey, you guys want to sit in here for a little bit? And you put a couple cat balls down, or K2 or REM pod. Start off small with the lights, and I find I do like the REM pods because they do light up. They're audio and visual.
Okay.
So and a recorder always, for EVPs. Trying to think. And then I'll move up to, maybe I'll drag out the SLS and see if I can get anything on there. I know there's a lot of controversy about a lot of the equipment lately in the field. But I always say, use what you like and what you feel, and take it for what it is. And obviously, you'll know if you're not moving and it's focusing on a blank wall and there's a figure showing up on your SLS. You might think that's a little paranormal, but
Yeah.
um,
I know Mike and I have talked about like Destination Fear For example, they have it's like I think it's called the Oculus.
Mm,
It's like the thing that picks up like the words and stuff.
yeah.
Like how do you feel about that? Because like just like watching those shows and stuff and like never using that, whatsoever. Like how do you feel about that? And have you ever used it and had any experiences with it?
The PS Spice looks interesting to me. I was actually looking that up a few weeks ago to see if I can see how much they are.
Yeah, I was looking it
um,
up too, and it was like several $100s, I think, for one
it's
of
like
them.
400, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to try anything, again, feel it out, like see if you're getting accurate, relevant responses, and you always have to take it with a grain of salt anyway. So, um, I mean, yeah, I would love to try it out. It seems to work for them, but then again, are these shows legit or,
Yeah.
um, what's another one? I want to get the rope light, the with the lights on it, the K2 lights on it, tripwire.
Is that when they touch it, it like lights up or something, or they walk by it? They like walk by it and it.
Yeah, it'll sense the energy. So if like you put it down a hallway, so there's little nodules on it, almost like Christmas lights, but bigger. So if they were walking down the hall, it'll light up each one as it goes down the hall. So
Oh, that's awesome.
mm.
Yeah.
You could also put it like in a circle. Like say if you sit in the circle, you'll see where it's like crossing in. No.
we're gonna
Yeah, I
we're
think
gonna.
like EVPs are cool. Like I feel like I can hear a voice, but like I don't want to see this thing walking right down the hall towards me. It's like no, thank you. That's what I always think of, like the REM pods and stuff. When you see those, like I watch on TV and those light up, it's like, yeah, I don't need to know something that is coming like that way. That's cool. I'm cool with that.
Right. Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah, Skippy's coming to get you, Mike.
yeah, yeah. I'm a little
yeah.
scared. I'm a little scared now. Like you did not. Yeah, the way you talked about Skip, I'm
I know
a little
we were
scared.
gearing up for King, but
Yeah, you
apparently
were gearing
King's
up
not
for
there
King.
anymore.
Well, he may be. He's just not
Yeah.
as vocal and known or, out there as he was years ago. But
So why would you think that is?
I honestly don't know. I
Okay.
can't figure him out. Either that or maybe he just doesn't come out when I'm there. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Maybe
I was just curious. Yeah.
maybe Skippy's like the alpha now. I don't know.
Maybe he took over.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I have different theories as well. Like, I think sometimes too, once they get their message across, or do what they feel they need to do, I think maybe they could cross over at that point, or go wherever
Okay.
they want to go. And because there's a lot of spirits I've come in contact with at Pennhurst that I don't hear their names anymore. And I try to talk to them, no responses. So I'm like, where'd they go?
Yeah.
So I started thinking, like, well, why? Why are we not hearing from Roger or, Nurse Catherine or,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing I can come up with is maybe once they're heard, that's sort of closure for them.
Hmm. Interesting. So how do you like when you're looking over like your evidence and things that you've gathered, how do you like separate the natural explanations for these things and then the paranormal like explanations? Like how do you kind of go through in your head or verbally with your friends or who you're with? Like how do you differentiate between that?
So during EVPs, I've developed this thing where I'm hyper fixated on everything around me. So as we're sitting there quiet, if anybody like makes the littlest noise, I'll either tap the recorder or I'll make some sort of noise to sort of tag it, and then I'll say to myself later on, okay, that was her moving her foot. Um, so I'll just go through and listen, and what I don't tag, I have to wonder, was that actual activity? And obviously, if I'm sitting in a basement and I'm hearing like pipes, I'm thinking, well, is that the building adjusting, or somebody banging on a pipe?
Yeah. I know Mike and I were talking the other day too, and I know a lot of these buildings have animals running through them, or the building's falling apart, or ammonia in the building, that could make people feel in a certain way. Because you see you hear a lot of people who get sick, or they start getting dizzy or whatnot during paranormal investigations and stuff like that. I guess going off of that, like, have you ever run into that with yourself or somebody you were with?
Oh yeah, I've seen
Really?
quite a bit of it. Yeah, people just feel off or get nauseous, headaches. With me, headaches, yes. Like I'll just start getting this jabbing pain in my forehead. And that's when I think too, like they're trying to communicate, or just they're trying to get to me like as close as they can to me, and I start getting a pain in my head. Yeah, people have gotten scratched even, so I'll just say, if anybody encounters anything like that, let me know. I'll get you out, I'll take you outside for some air. But yeah, nauseous feelings, dizzy, people getting dizzy, tunnel vision, things like that. Just all kinds of weird, side effects there.
Yeah. Interesting.
So can I ask a question quick, Corey?
Yeah, go ahead.
So have you ever been, I guess, leading people in a paranormal investigation, and you've either had to tell them to maybe back off, or I guess I always just think of like people that like are like overly provoking in certain areas and stuff, and maybe makes you uncomfortable with some of the things they're provoking with and stuff.
We don't usually have a problem at Pennhurst. Before we
Okay.
get started, we gather everyone together and we go over the rules. So we do
Okay.
always try to focus on that, like no provoking here, no slur words or anything like that. Um, so people know to go into this, respectful. And yeah, so I don't think I've ever encountered anybody that was just overly, rough or provoking.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so I know you went over like some other places that you've been to, investigated, and you've talked about some of like your experiences that you've had. I guess and you may have already talked about it. It may have been that experience you had about like the pipe, the thing falling from the ceiling and almost like landing on you.
Right.
Um, what, like, I guess what do you feel like are the best pieces of evidence that either you've experienced or like you've captured on one of your devices?
So that night with the light in the basement with Skippy, the same night we were on third floor of Mayflower building, and we were all down in this like day room, it must have been, and we were walking down the hallway, this long narrow hallway. Halfway down we had a little rubber ball, and we're all sitting there talking and everything, and all of a sudden we just hear like, this weird noise, and we're like, what the heck was that? And I was holding my friend's night vision camera, but I had set it down on the floor. And we're like, I don't know. And I said, it sounded like the ball. And I remember, I'm like, the camera's on the floor. I said, oh God, I hope it was pointed the right way, you know? So we picked up the camera, we rewound the footage, and here the ball lifted up off the ground and was thrown across the hall. There was nobody there. And we were like, oh my God. We were screaming, freaking
Wow.
out. And then
Yeah.
it like bounced, and then it rolled over to the wall, kind of stopped a little bit, and then came back out in the hall, and then just rocked back and forth as if like, a kid was sitting there playing with it or something. It was the most amazing piece of footage I've ever seen.
Wow. That's awesome.
I said, we
Yeah,
got the
because
Holy Grail.
because like you see, or you watch these shows on TV, and like you mentioned earlier, like how much of it's real? Is any of it real? Like, is somebody else doing all this stuff to make it seem like it's paranormal? Like, you don't know.
Right.
But that's awesome that you picked that up.
Oh, yeah. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
And as far as like experiences, We had a problem with a very, very negative spirit. I don't know if it was demonic or not. I don't know. I try not to think about it too much because I don't want to. But I was kind of physically attacked at Pennhurst. There was something we think either someone conjured up in there, because we still get a lot of trespassers, and you know, God knows what they're doing in there, or somebody brought it there. Um, we started noticing a few years ago that weird stuff was happening. People were getting scratched more often, and people were getting well, during the haunted attraction. I remember one of the actors came to me and he's like, during your investigations, are you noticing anything different, anything weird on campus? And I'm like, oh, well, wait, yeah, people are getting like scratched over in Devon Building. I said, but Devon Building is one of the most calmest buildings on campus.
Huh.
It started us thinking. He goes, yeah. He's like, 6 people in the haunted attraction had to go home tonight. They were all nauseous, having like panic attack symptoms. And 6 people in one night were being affected. He goes, yeah, I think there's something going around. And, I guess they had a couple people that were into it, but they went around and they saged and, did all this stuff to sort of cleanse. And everything sort of got back to normal. We
Huh.
didn't notice anything really negative. But then weird things started happening again. And I'm like, what is going on? So I think it just went dormant, with
Yeah.
all the stuff that they did. And now it was unleashed again. So one night, I was down in Rockwell, and we used to do the Facebook Lives during COVID. Um,
Oh.
it was just a way for us to still interact with, the people who liked Pennhurst and everything and followed us on Facebook. So I was down in Rockwell Tunnel, and all of a sudden, it was only supposed to be an hour long. I was in there for almost 2 hours. I had lost track of time, and my friend actually had to come down and pull me out of there because I'm like, no, I want to stay down here. I want to stay. And they're like, no, we got to go. And as I'm walking out, I started getting really nauseous, and I'm like, I got to throw up. I got to throw up. And they're like, throw up, get it out. Like, whatever this is. They could tell I was being affected by something. And the whole tunnel just started to look like it was twisting, like I was in a, one of those turning tunnel things. And I fell up against the wall. So they're trying to get me out of there as fast as they could. So I'm walking back on the catwalk, and I turn, and you know how you could see like the night sky, and if there's trees, you'll see the tree lines, and then like a
Yeah.
lighter sky. All of a sudden, like something just appeared in front. I couldn't see the sky or the trees anymore. It was pure black. And then it started to like move towards me, and I freaked out. I turned, I ran. My friend's trying to run after me, like, what's going on? And once I got back to Mayflower Building, I turned around and I felt something kind of push me up against the wall. And I just started crying. And I'm like, well, leave me alone, leave me alone. I'm like, get off me, get off me. And they're all just standing there watching, like, what's going on? And then I started feeling like my whole body was being crushed. I said, when you crumble a piece of paper to throw in the basket, I said, that's what my body felt like. I was being crushed. And I started to fall to the ground. And they're like, get her a chair, get her a chair. But then they were telling me after all this that at one point I was laughing with a
Oh.
like in a deep voice or so. I don't know. It's scary to think about.
Yeah.
And that I was saying like, I didn't do this, you did this. And I'm horrified because I'm like, I don't remember doing that, saying that. So that's an
Yeah.
actual like scary thing to think about, that you don't remember this,
Yeah.
and you're not in control. So that horrified me, thinking, what was it? Trying to take me over, or, and that really scared me. And yeah, it
Wow.
was a very overwhelming experience. Um, and then, yeah, for 2 weeks after that, I just wasn't feeling right. I wasn't feeling myself. I was having a lot of headaches then. I was dizzy a lot, and I was just so miserable and not myself. So finally, my one friend called me. She's like, "You better go get cleansed. I know a girl. Go see her." So I went, and she does like Reiki, and she had a table with the crystals and the music and incense, all that stuff. So I'm laying there. She said, just don't say anything. Just relax, breathe, and we'll talk about everything at the end. She's like, if you see anything, hear anything, smell it, whatever, we'll talk about it later. I was like, okay. So she starts her work and she's up touching. As soon as she put her hands on me, like I started like crying, and then like my body is trembling, and she's like, just relax, and I couldn't control that, and I'm just like, what
Wow.
is going on? So then she starts moving to my right side, and all of a sudden, like, I felt the cool breeze, and I'm like, oh, she's got her air conditioning on. It was summer, but then she stopped and went over to my left side, and she's doing her thing, goes back to the right, stops again, goes back to the left side. So basically, after everything was done, she was like, I kept going to your left side because I saw it, and it was latched into your left arm, and it wrapped all the way up around your head. She's like, are you getting a lot of headaches? I said, yeah. She's like, that's why. And and then too, after she did all that, I remember seeing like this black thing, like kind of jumped out of me, I guess. And she said, yeah, I saw it leave you. And I'm like, I think I did too. And she's like, what did it look like? I said, it was sort of like a black liquidy thing. I said, the only way I could describe it, venom.
Dude, I was just thinking that too. When you just said that, I was thinking Venom, but I didn't say it. I was like, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. And it just,
Oh,
she's like, it's gone. And I'm like, oh my God. I was horrified just from that, like picturing this thing. Mm,
wow.
yeah. So we don't know where this thing came from. Probably shouldn't, but okay, it's still around. But we've learned, we don't talk about it because
Yeah.
we feel feeding into it, talking about it, talking to it,
Gives it
gives
more
it,
power.
yeah,
Does that give it more power? Yeah.
yeah,
So you think so? This is still at Pennhurst.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you think this was brought in by somebody or conjured there by somebody?
Probably, yeah, most likely, because it's
Yeah.
not ours. We know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Either that
Well,
or it's just sort of, what do they say about the paranormal, or like certain, not elemental, but over the years, all the stories, all that energy, it sort of kind of concocts this bigger energy over time, and just creates this ball of negativity. So I don't know if that's a possibility. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
wow. Well, thanks for sharing that story
yeah,
with us. I mean, I'm sure it's not
Yeah.
easy for you.
That was awesome.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's not easy for you to talk about.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, enough
Yeah.
time has gone by, but I mean, it's still kind of like
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's probably the scariest experience you've ever dealt with. Is that just based off of everything you just went over related to it? Um, has that or any other experiences like I guess made you think twice about doing this?
That was a big one.
Yeah.
I contemplated not going back to work there. I took a couple weeks off. Um, I told my boss and everything, and she was understanding. Um, so yeah, I took a couple weeks off. I said, but my love for the place, though, I said I can't abandon the other spirits, and I feel that this thing also does feed off of the other spirits energy
Okay.
as well. Because I noticed when that thing is sort of gearing up to do something, the other spirits go quiet and they really won't come out and communicate. So, um, You know, I said, I have to go back and protect them, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of learned how to sort of shut it out, not let it get to me again, and sort of stand up to it too in a way. Let it know you're not going to do that again. You don't have any control over me. So I've been okay.
Yeah.
And there's some areas like I won't go unless there's more than like 5 of us.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess going back to Pennhurst, I guess what advice do you give to people, I guess, coming to investigate that place for the first time? Like, is there any advice that you give anybody?
Mm, Not really, just
Not really.
I would probably just say, yeah. I mean, be respectful,
Yeah.
do the research, like look up, what kind of spirits you're going to be dealing with, like who are the patients there,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, don't go in mean and angry and provoking. They're not going to respond too well to that, and you
Yeah.
don't want to get in the crosshairs of anything else.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, and I always tell people too, just go with your gut, go with your instincts and your feelings, your body. Like I said, if you walk down the hall and you start feeling something, you might want to sit down. There might be somebody that wants to communicate with you. See if you can get any responses in that area. And yeah, be patient. They will come to you eventually.
Yeah. Okay. I just got like 2 more questions here, and then we can wrap up too. Then, Mike, unless you have anything else after this, but I guess the other one I have is, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but like, I guess what do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about the paranormal and like paranormal investigating?
Hmm. I would think that would be part of it. Is people expect to go into a location and just boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna be touching me and pulling me and chairs are gonna fly across the room, But unfortunately, it's not that glamorous like in the movies. Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of these places had a lot of traumatic history, prisons, and they were incarcerated, whatever, for a long time, and they had their own set of issues inside prisons, hospitals, death, you know, things like that. So you gotta remember who you're trying to communicate with. Um, yeah.
Awesome.
you know.
So last one I got here, and then Mike, if you have any follow up too after that, but I know you talked about the other places you've been to, some pretty big ones, pretty notable ones. If you could investigate any place in the world, what would it be and why? Or where would it be and why?
Oh, this is a tough one. Right? Because one of my friends actually asked me this recently, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, usually the ones I put up on high on my list, I end up going like Old South Pittsburgh. I've been wanting to go there for like 15 years and finally went. Um, Winchester Mystery House, I would love to investigate. Just I love the old Victorian style of the home, the secret passageways. Like I'm all into all that stuff. And Sarah, yeah, she was an interesting individual. I'd like to see if she's still around.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I would love to do like a castle, in Ireland or England, wherever,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. Um, and yeah, I would love to get out west as well to do like, Tombstone or the Goldfield Hotel, get into the western stuff a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. I really think too. I don't know if they let people out there still, but like Alcatraz, do they still
I've
let people out
been,
there at all?
yeah,
You've been there?
yep.
How is
Not
that?
for an official
How,
investigation,
yeah.
but we went uh, kind of later in the day, like one of the last boats that goes over, and there was hardly anybody there. So um, it was quiet, and I had my recorder with me, and I went into a few cells and sat there because they don't rush you around. It's pretty much like kind of free roam, and
Yeah.
then you just get back on a boat and they take you back over. So I did some EVPs and things. Didn't really get much though. Yeah, spent maybe about 2 hours there. And then same with the Winchester. We actually went to the Winchester Mystery House, and we did the tour. And afterwards, they don't rush you off the ground, so you're able to walk around outside the house.
I don't know where Mike went, but that's okay. I see
Oh,
it's still recording.
Should I keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I got to walk around like her garden. I went in her garage, her atrium outside. Sat there, did some EVPs as well. So that was pretty cool. You know, it wasn't official, but
Yeah. Wow, that's cool that you were there, because I always just look at that, like, just going over on the boat over there and just seeing that place, like, that's probably just something else.
oh yeah, it was incredible, just surreal because like you see it in the movies, and it's
Yeah.
not until you're actually there and you're like, wow, it's a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know where Mike went, but I mean, that was the last question I had. So I guess, was there anything else you wanted to say before we, end this thing?
Hey, if you're interested, come down to Pennhurst. We are restarting our public investigations in March. You could check out our calendar. We have all kinds of dates there. Again, our Paracon is in May. It's an amazing weekend. Get your tickets because you don't want to miss Josh Gates, Paranormal
Yeah.
Theater, and everyone else that's going to be there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, hey, there he is. Hey, we were just finishing up, Mike.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
Here
I am.
Is there any final questions, comments you got, Mike? She was just inviting people to come out to Pennhurst, baby,
awesome.
and see it.
Yeah, and if you're doing a private, ask for me as your guide.
Oh,
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
When we come down, we're coming with you. Like,
I can't wait. It'll be great.
I do have one question because it was requested on our Facebook. Is what is your funniest paranormal experience? I feel like everybody always wants to know the scary, but nobody wants to know something that's just totally humorous.
I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, I don't know. One that it might not be too funny, but it got a kick out, or my group got a kick out of it. We had the I forget what app it was, some sort of spirit box, Ovilus app or something on their phone, and we were by Skippy's door in the tunnel, and I decided to, promote a little bit, and I'm like, Skippy, I said, yeah, where'd you get that name anyway? It's kind of a pussy name. All of a sudden, through their little app thing, it said pussy name, and we all went, oh my, it was clear as day, and I was like, oh my, and then we were laughing. Oh, I was like, oh, at least you acknowledge it too.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's awesome.
And, the one night, it was me and two other investigators. We were spending the night because we were working all weekend. We had a bunch of stuff going on, and we said, hey, let's go down into the tunnel and talk to Skippy. So here we are with some pizza and, whatnot, and we had cake. So I had a piece of cake in between two paper plates, and I walked down, and there's a little gap under the door, and I'm like, Skippy, I'm like, we brought you pizza and some cake, and I'm using the paper plate, and my friend goes, are you wafting the cake smell under the door? And I'm like, well, yes. I said, you know what? I'm going to make friends with him. I said, that's it. I said, I'm going to get him to like me.
Yeah, whether he wants
I don't
to
know
or
why,
not.
But
Yeah.
it was just funny. He's like, are you wafting cake under the door?
That's awesome.
He didn't want no part of that.
Yeah.
He actually told us to F off, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Is that all you got then, Mike?
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, so I mean, we just want to appreciate you for coming on and giving us some of your time.
Yeah, it's
I
been
know
awesome.
you're a busy person.
Awesome.
No, thank you so much for having me on. It was fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to work with you guys.
I know it's
Oh, yeah,
sweet. I can't wait for you to just like lock me in a straight jacket and throw me in old Skippy's room for like 2 hours.
It's on.
Yeah, just come out like it's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to get to hear about it. I think it's a really interesting place, and I think it's really cool that you're able to work there and be able to kind of prolong the legacy of what Pennhurst is. Maybe not always for the good of what Pennhurst is known for, but I think it's really cool that you're able to educate people and be able to take them through the buildings and everything. I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, and that's one of the things we promote too, is just educating, disabilities, disability rights, and civil rights, and so it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think there's so many like civil rights things that were born through Pennhurst and some of the lawsuits Corey talked about in the last episode and stuff like that. And it's a cool piece of history that I think maybe Pennsylvania wants to bury a little bit because it's not the best piece of history for them, but it's history nonetheless. And I think it's got us to a good point.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, if they were to tear it down, people are always saying, "Oh, it should be torn down." I said, "Well, why?" I said, "You could put up a little rock or a memorial or a post, but they're just gonna look at it. Okay, but once you get there and you're feeling that energy and you're in those buildings, like, you feel that." That's learning. It's going to open your eyes and your heart, and you're going to go, wow. Like, and we've had so many people actually come and be like, wow, I had no idea, So it could be tough. It could be overwhelming, but, you learn a lot,
Yeah. Yeah. I think we got a whole new perspective on Pennhurst from having you on here. So, I mean, we appreciate it a lot. And everybody, if you want to go to Pennhurst and talk to Jenni Lynn, she's your girl. And she has a Facebook page as well. If you look her up, Jenni Lynn, Pennhurst and Paranormal Investigator. So check her out and give her a follow.
Thank you.
So that's all we got, Jenni. So again, we appreciate it, and hopefully maybe we'll have you on again sometime.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. I'd love it. Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, crackheads. So we just heard from Jenni Lynn, who is a Pennhurst paranormal investigator.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome. And like I said, we got a whole new just perspective of Pennhurst, of paranormal investigating. And I was talking to Mike here when we weren't recording, and pretty much said that, like, there was, when she was going over like her stories and stuff, like there was times where like legit the hairs on my arms were standing up.
Yeah, dude, she had some insane stories. Where did she say she was when the bouncy ball picked up?
It was at Pennhurst. Do you mean what building at Pennhurst?
Oh, I didn't realize it was at Pennhurst. I thought it was somewhere else they were going.
Oh, maybe it was somewhere else. I don't remember. I thought it was.
But
at
either
Pennhurst.
way, dude, that was insane. Yeah. But yeah, she just had a ton of really cool information, and I don't know, she's been to so many cool places. I thought it was awesome having her on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have her on again at some point. Maybe we can cover another place that she's been to.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
Dude, you know where she said that like tickled my fancy, as they say? Waverly Hills, man.
Yeah. Well, mine too was the Trans-Allegheny like asylum place, whatever it's called. I got it mixed up in my head. Like, I knew it was West Virginia, but for whatever reason I always say Delaware. But I know I think that's the one that Josh Gates was at. And I remember the episode. I forget the woman that he was with. She was like an investigator too, but they were down in the basement of this place, and I know she like got really sick and stuff and had to like get rushed out of there. Like, she was not well. And I'm pretty sure it was that place. And I think I was thinking, like, in my head, I for some reason I thought it was Pennhurst, but I'm pretty sure it was the Trans-Allegheny place.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, I just remember Waverly Hills. I used to have a T-shirt of Waverly Hills that I wore in high school. One of my buddies, Ryan, brought it. Like, went there on a tour, not a ghost tour, but just a regular tour, and bought me a T-shirt and brought it back to high school. So I used to always rock that. So when people say Waverly Hills, it like, bing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, It was really cool. She had a lot of super cool experiences, and I am kind of pooping my pants a little bit to square up with Skip in the basement, but I think it has to be done.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Listen, the way she talked, like, he is scared to go to the afterlife, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he's scared. So, obviously, he is there as, like, trying to, like, scare us. But he's scared, too. So, it's like, we're both scared.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, we can square up because he is just as scared. It's like, oh, yeah? How about I take you to my buddy, Satan? You know? And it's like, you just, and he just drops right to hell. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
No, but I thought it was really, like, I really did learn a lot from having her on here. I thought it was really interesting when she talked about people conjuring up spirits and people bringing spirits there and stuff like that. Like, the spirit that attacked her, they don't think that started at that place, you know? So I think stuff like that's really interesting in the way of something can be conjured up from just super negative energy within the walls of Pennhurst. But yeah, it was really cool. She had so much good information.
Yeah, for sure. She did awesome. So
yeah. Is there anything that stood out for you?
I think just like the experience that she talked about, where basically the demon or whatever it was, like went inside her or whatever. It took
like
took
wrapped
her
around
over,
her.
like wrapped around her head and stuff. Like,
that was crazy.
I think that was when she was going over that story. That's like when like the hairs on my arms, I think, started to go. I mean, granted, I'm very cold right now in my basement too, which doesn't help.
Your basement is cold, which is our normal studio. Yeah. But yeah, there were certain moments in that where I felt like you could hear her voice change, where she was scared, you know, which there's nothing wrong with. I'm not trying to say anything bad, but yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure. So with that, we're gonna transition over.
So with that,
I know I tried to throw a little.
You hit the mic with it.
Yeah. So with that, we're not doing a folklore score tonight.
See you later, folks. Bye.
We don't really have a name for it yet, but for right now, what we're gonna call it is the haunted or not scale.
The haunted or not.
So basically, what this is something that we're gonna use for the different locations and places that we talk about to determine basically what I just said, whether it's haunted or whether it's a piece of shit and it's not haunted. It's all just talk.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. How it's going to work is it's more simpler than the folklore score. So how it's going to work is Mike and I will both pick one of the following options for each place that we talk about, cover, to determine how haunted it is. So number one is, hell yeah, it's haunted.
Yep.
Number two is probably haunted. You know, give some creepy vibes and some weird stuff happen, but not definitive.
Yeah.
Number
three.
I
think that's like the, like, you might hear a bump or two in the night, but it could be anything. It could be the wind. We don't know.
Could just be Mike.
It could be like, it could be me passing gas.
Yeah.
Which will happen if we ever go on a ghost hunt. Listen, it's pretty much a guarantee.
You're going to make everybody jump like, oh, what was that? Like, did you hear that?
Make everybody puke.
Mike
there's
be like,
demons inside everybody. No. That's just Mike just pooping his pants again.
Yeah. Did you pick that up on the EMF? And then you say, Mike, excuse me.
Listen. Let's listen to the EVP. That was me.
I think he said hello.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be about right.
Yeah. Number three, not haunted. Wasn't anything spooky here.
Which is my house, hopefully.
And then, okay, there's number four, trash haunt. Total letdown, overhyped, and zero haunt factor.
So I would think when we break down the scale, it would pretty much be on historical are historically haunted locations, obviously, because like not haunted and trash are two totally separate things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When
So
I
then
think of a place like Amityville, maybe more closer to trash, because, and I haven't dove into Amityville, but like when we start getting into places that are supposedly super duper haunted and there's no real evidence or anything like that of a real haunting, would be more trash compared to if I just say like Corey's house is not haunted. Make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it makes sense to you. You're the one listening to me, Corey. That's all that really matters.
So then, depending on our results, both Crack Daddy and BK, Corey.
Yeah, butt crack Corey, in case you don't know what BK stands for. I can't believe you didn't drop a BK in the whole episode. Like, what BK is? It's butt crack. It's butt crack. It's the stinky ass thing that sits behind me all the time. Butt crack.
Beside you. I sit beside you. Oh, you're talking about your own. Okay.
I'm talking about my own. I don't wipe.
Okay. So then based off of our responses, we can have 5 different combinations. So at least 5 different that we're going to track here. I don't know mathematically how many combinations you could possibly get with that, but I'm not thinking right now. A lot of beer in my system, but so number 1 is double hell. Yeah. It's haunted.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
So that's when we both get a hell yeah. Like that's top of the echelon. That's mother effing Stone Cold Steve Austin haunted echelon type of place we're talking about.
You're throwing me Miller Lights from the front row. You know what I mean?
Some little Steve Weisers.
Steve Weisers, that's what I'm talking about. Now listen, Budweisers make me gassy.
Yeah, we've talked about that in an episode. They know. The people know.
Yeah, they need to know.
Yeah, they know.
This is important information.
Okay, so then after the double hell yeah, the next one is majority haunted. So that's if we both agree that it's either haunted, so we get a hell yeah and a probably haunted. Split decision.
Yeah, there's a good chance it's haunted. That's what I feel like that means, you know?
Yeah, good chance, but
there's a good chance that's where it's at.
Yeah. Then there's a split decision. We don't see eye to eye, so we argue it out and we talk our points.
And we get nowhere. Because, what I found is Corey and Mike are not backing down from our hills. We'll die on our hills, and that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, we will.
Nothing wrong with that.
And then the double not haunted, which is a certified ghost-free zone. And then the last one is a trash haunt certified, which is a full disappointment. Never talking about this shit again.
Yeah, what would that be like? Like I wouldn't even give it a point.
It's like if we both say trash. If you say trash and I say trash,
if
then
I
it's
say
double certified trash.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's some fucking Long Island shit right there.
Yeah, or New Jersey. Just New Jersey, the state. Just the whole
Jersey.
State. Yeah.
Listen, I have dogged New Jersey long enough.
You have.
If you people wanna follow the cast, I will quit making fun of you.
But you need at least 1,000. You need at least 1,000.
Just kidding. I'm gonna make fun of you regardless.
Yeah. So, what do you got, Mike? What's your response on this on Pennhurst?
For my thought on Pennhurst, obviously, I am a skeptic, but I think if there was ever a place that could be a haunted location, I give this like an absolute hell yeah. I just think there's so many stories. Jenny talked about, dude, that story when she talked about Skippy in the basement throwing stuff, and here's my logic behind that. She has nothing to gain from that story. So in my mind, that story has to be real. And really on that story alone, I could probably say that this was a legitimate haunting. But on top of that, all the other facts and stuff like that, I think that this is a hell yeah. Corey, what do you got?
Oh, I'm giving it a hell yeah, too, because it, like I said, I got goosebumps. My hairs were going up on my arms when she's talking about this place. Like, I was into it. And
Yeah.
just all the research I did about this place and, everything I went over in part 1, I really learned just about how much stuff happened here, a lot of negative stuff, and
Yeah,
just
so
how it,
dude, so much nasty stuff happened here. It's insane.
yeah. And you start thinking about how big of place this is, and start digging, down to the tunnels and like what was happening down to those tunnels. I mean, she mentioned it too.
1800
100.
foot?
That's
Isn't that what it was?
that's 18 football fields.
Yeah. Dude, that is a long way of tunnels. A long way for tunnels for bad things to happen between
That's
death.
not 18.
and-
Is that? No, that's not 18 football fields.
Dude, who cares? It's
Is it?
it's a
that's
long
100
ways.
yards. That's
Yeah.
that's not.
Listen, I was gonna let you go.
I don't think you
go.
realized it either. No, you didn't
Oh yes, I did. I realized it right away. Absolutely. I
Yeah,
thought to
it's-
myself, "Man, Corey's an idiot," and it's 6 football
It's
fields.
6. Yeah, I was just gonna say. I was just gonna correct it. It's
Yeah, that's
6.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, but either way, like that is such a long tunnel
That's still a
system
lot of football fields.
for so many football fields, but so much room for abuse to happen in that place. It's it's just, and it happened.
Yeah, for sure. So with that brings us to the end of our
Dude,
Pennhurst
listen,
saga.
If everybody out there can start like so when you go onto Apple Podcasts, there's a little thing where you can like say a comment to us. Click on that and tell Corey to quit taking my catchphrase of like at the very end. So with that, that's me. That's Mike. That's not Corey. That's Mike. So
With
just see if
that,
you guys, just shut up, Corey. You don't even do it right.
you already said
and with
so.
that-
Yes.
And with
'Cause
that,
you said so already, ass.
and with that,
Oh,
yeah, no.
go ahead. Say your stupid catchphrase.
Corey stupid. Oh, my other catchphrase. And with that, it was a good episode. Though I thought, Corey, you found Jenni. I think that was an awesome find. She killed it on the cast. I thought some of her stories and everything.
Yeah.
Why was there such a long delay?
I thought you froze. That's why.
What the hell is going on?
All right. So give us a follow on Facebook. Stop. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And actually, okay, I'd rather you guys just give us a 5-star like. Give us a 5-star like, 5-star
Yeah,
review.
give us a 5-star like on the thread. On the threads.
Yeah, thread.
On Apple and Spotify. Yeah.
No, but that was fun. I enjoyed it. BK Corey is out.
And Crack Daddy Mike. I almost said butt crack Mike for a second, but I'm Crack Daddy Mike and I'm out. Corey's stupid.
Mike's dumb.
Oh fudge. Corey's stupid.
Mike's dumb.